afternoon to every one of you. As indicated, unfortunately the governor couldn't make it, but I'm sure I should be able to take through the message from the governor on a topic that is of significant interest to us, particularly when it comes to provision of export finance for exporters. Why we say that is because as a central bank, one of our key mandates is to ensure that there is the adequate provision of foreign exchange in the economy. And if you look at the character, the dynamics of this economy, not only from the time we adopted the multi-currency, but from long back, exports have been the major source of foreign currency for the economy. And accordingly, as a central bank, one of the key issues that we then try to do is to put in place a number of measures that ensure attainment of an ideal business environment to allow the exporters to export and generate the foreign exchange that we require. Our import figures are quite significant, and they definitely require that we have adequate feedstock to be able to settle our foreign payments as and when they arise. So the export sector or the export business to us as the central bank is a key sector, and we take quite a significant interest in ensuring that we put in place measures, incentives, and appropriate structures to allow exporters to be able to export and generate the required feedstock, which is the foreign currency. So my presentation will basically look at what it is that we've done as the central bank in our efforts to prop up exports. And I will discuss throughout the presentation also of what we hope can be done, not only from a monetary point of view, but all stakeholders involved is a way of trying to increase on export. So I will quickly go through the presentation, and I've noted that our role or participation in the export business, mostly from an exchange control or reserve bank point of view, is guided by the need to facilitate the creation of an ideal environment that allows exporters to be able to take their goods beyond the borders, and in the process also ensure that the foreign currency that the economy generates from the various exports finds its way back into the country, so that it can then be effectively distributed to all those particular sectors that require foreign exchange, critical source of funding whatever import requirements that we have as a country. So the cycle does not only end when we export, that's the starting point when the money is received and is apportioned effectively to the productive sectors of the economy. The ideal being to ensure that industry continues to receive this foreign exchange and that they continue to export, and the cycle continues. So accordingly, we have various measures which I'm going to talk about, which we've put in place. I just indicated there a quotation from the governor's monetary policy statement, the recent August 7, 2017, which says that the bank subscribes to the philosophy of export, subsidize, or die strategy, in noting that foreign exchange is a critical factor of production, especially under the context where foreign exchange is also a domestic currency in Zimbabwe. This is just to amplify the significance and recognition that we attach to foreign exchange generation in the economy. And if you look at this figure, the pie chart is just to demonstrate to us, I'm sure you probably already have an appreciation of this 1%, 60%. And this trend is obtained from the time that we adopted the multi-currency. The other sources of foreign exchange have not performed very well, and I'm sure there are initiatives at various platforms to ensure that we prop up the other sources of foreign exchange so that they can complement what we are currently generating from exports. But exports have been the anchor in terms of our foreign currency receipts in the economy. And if you then break down the exports, you will notice that a significant portion of our exports are emanating from the mining sector. Governor has mentioned that we have the big five in terms of foreign exchange, which is the gold, tobacco, platinum, chrome, and the diamonds. That's where we generate a significant portion of our foreign exchange, and that actually hovers around 83 to 85%. It demonstrates the concentration that we have in mineral exports. And I think what then comes out of that is the need to also adopt strategies for diversifying our exports so that we include other exports and not have a concentration on mineral exports. But basically, that is where we get a lot of our foreign exchange. And with tobacco, given its cyclical nature that it is now, you will notice that it comes in during a certain period of the year where we significantly benefit from foreign exchange from that particular sector, which is normally and mostly from around April to August. And then after that, we have to rely on the other four sources of foreign exchange. So given the need to ensure that we prop up exports, what is it that we have done as a Reserve Bank? And I must say that our coming in, we are mostly coming in from a policy perspective where we create the ideal environment. I think that is the key issue, so that the exporters are able to export, are able to produce and export. And if you look at the tone of our monetary policy statements from 2014, we have mostly been emphasizing the aspects of production, productivity, and exports. The reason being that you increase productive capacity of the economy, you inculcate in exporting culture, and then you are able to push the product beyond the borders, and you generate the feedstock that we require, which is the foreign exchange. So that has been what we've been looking at. And so as a monetary authority, there are initiatives that we have put up, which I'm going to talk about. Of course, this is not all that is there, because we believe that our role is to also complement initiatives that are being done and implemented by other stakeholders that are involved in the export business. Why we say so is because exporting business by nature is all inclusive. It should include all the stakeholders. It's not a monetary issue, it's not a fiscal issue, but I think all stakeholders need to participate in the exporting cycle. Private sector also being included, industry pushing the product. So I will talk about the 5% export incentive scheme and then the facilities that have been put in place which are available, the efforts that we have done in terms of lowering the cost of borrowing or accessing capital, which is critical for increased production. And then we have also been talking in the last monetary policy statement, we brought in the aspect of sweating RTGS balances, and I think this is something that has been discussed at different platforms. So the first issue that we have talked about, which most exporters have benefited from, is the issue of the 5% export incentive scheme that we introduced in 2016, in May 2016. The idea being that on all export receipts that accrue to the economy, the exporter is awarded a 5% bonus, which is deposited into their account. And this is where bond notes then came in to monetize the incentive. And when it started, this was a 200 million facility, which was then revised in 2017 when we increased it by a further 300 million standby liquidity support, which is in place now, and we are still maintaining the 5% across all the sectors. The mining sector, we have demarcated between large and small scale, where large scale get 2.5%. But the rest of the sectors, the small scale, they get 5%. Gold producers, they get 5%. We are talking of the artisanal miners, they get 5%. Tobacco producers, those that produce the green leaf, they also get 5%. Industry, they are getting 5%. But what we have also done, looking at the impact that this incentive has had on industry, we have then also started looking at the accelerated export incentive scheme, where on a case by case, we have allowed certain companies to access the incentive scheme at rates even up to 12.5%. And this we have done to try and build and enhance a competitiveness of companies. And most of the institutions that have benefited from this arrangement are those companies in the mining sector. So in the manufacturing sector, who export into the region. And we have actually had some quite positive remarks from that, good success stories, where companies are beginning to increase their exports because of the competitiveness generated through the granting of this export incentive scheme. So this is the export incentive scheme. Currently it's available to every exporting entity at 5%, but where one can demonstrate the need to get over and above the 5%, we are open to look at that. We also have got various facilities. I think this, ideally what we are looking at is to increase on productivity and production so that ultimately we are able to export. And these facilities are accessible through the various financial institutions. What the bank has only done, the central bank, is to arrange the facilities, give them to banks so that banks can then lend the facilities to their various clients. And under these facilities, we have the Gold Development Initiative, which mostly targets the small scale and artisanal miners. And if you look at gold production statistics, from the time we adopters are now accessing this facility, which has been increased from 20 to 40, and I know there are discussions, there have been calls to even increase it further to 60 or 70 million, so that we create the finance required to boost gold production by small scale. Then we have the horticultural facility. We have noted from our exports that I'm sure those that understand the sector very well, the horticultural sector used to generate a lot of foreign exchange, but production had gone down. But we are beginning to see a revival of the sector. Companies are beginning to come up, production is slowly increasing, and even the statistics do demonstrate export receipts from this sector are picking up. So we have put up a facility. This facility, obviously, the amount may be insignificant at 10 million, but what we are saying is this is to initiate or at least to create that capacity that is necessary to then grow the export business. So we have the horticultural sector. Then we also have the cross-border traders facility, where we are recognizing the cross-borders, small scale, capacitate them so that they can take their various ways out of the country, export, generate the much needed foreign exchange. I think the key issue that comes from this facility is that of financial inclusion, but more importantly, inculcating that exporting culture across all the levels, that you can produce and export. And when you have exported, it's the economy that ultimately benefits. So this is another facility that's available for uptake. Then we also have the export finance facility. Exporting entities can also benefit from for this. The ideal is to finance exporters. So it's a facility that is already available. And what you also notice is that these facilities are at concessional rates, and we are continuously engaging banks so that we deal with the other aspects of these facilities to reduce on the security requirements, etc., make them ideal so that uptake increases. This money gets into production. Then we also have the business linkages facility, which again is for financing local production by manufacturers. We have other facilities, we will not really talk about them. The women empowerment, we have the people with disabilities, youth empowerment, tourism support, a host of facilities that we have in place, which are designed basically to encourage production. And this fits into our mantra that of production, productivity, and ultimately exports. Then what we have also been working on is the reduction in lending rates to ensure that we have, I think you are moving, yes, thank you. Reduction in lending rates to ensure that cost of financing is affordable. This is a continuous engagement that we are doing with the financial institutions. And you'll notice that generally our rates have come down, though there is still scope and room to further reduce them so that we provide cheap financing. That's why we have come up with these complementing facilities, which are at 7.5 and reasonably priced, to ensure that we create capacity for banks to also look at further reducing. Then we also have the issue of unlocking. This is unlocking other TGS balances. We do sit on a huge RTGS position as an economy. And I think Governor is in some forums indicated that the unfortunate thing is the RTGS balance compared to the nostro position that we have as an economy, there is a significant mismatch. And what you therefore want to do is to exploit this RTGS balance, sweat it significantly, create capacity, generate foreign exchange, and at least boost your nostro position as an economy, from which we then do our foreign payments. So we have allowed a number of companies, we have seen quite a lot of innovative structures that have been put in place, where a lot of these funds are now being deployed into production. Mostly the mining sector, we have structures that target chrome, and we have seen an increase in chrome production, exports through Apple Bridge beginning to come up. And some of them are benefiting from the cheap financing that is coming from unlocking these RTGS balances. And it's something that we are really pushing up. In the August MPS, we actually made a call that banks need to increase capacity in that rail so that we use these RTGS, which are largely lying idle, towards productive sectors. Then we have the Export Credit Guarantee Scheme, which is being put in place by the ECGC, a subsidiary of the Reserve Bank, to provide guarantees on exporters. And I think this is quite key, because normally when you get into that business, you want the assurance, you want to cover your risks, you want that protection. We have the institution that is coming to do that, to ensure that we build on exports, particularly for those small SMEs. Even when they are borrowing, they need that support, banks need that confidence, and the guarantees are working towards that. And we are actually beginning to see the sector coming up. Then I think the other key issue is prioritization of foreign payments for exporters. We do have a priority list that we have put in place, which recognizes the contribution of manufacturers, other institutions that are involved in production. And what we try to do is, for every dollar that is generated in terms of foreign exchange, banks are required to ensure that funding goes to the productive sectors of the economy. Where banks do not have capacity, we have put in place a foreign exchange management committee at the Reserve Bank, where banks participate, and we try to make sure that whatever resources available is channeled towards the critical sectors of the economy. This we are trying to prioritize payments for exporters. Yes, there may be backlogs that may arise in the process, but the ultimate of that committee and also the initiatives, the priority list at the banks, is to ensure that the sectors that produce for the economy benefit. And linked to that, we've been coming up with issues like the Nostro Stabilization Facility. We have the standby liquidity support. All these are facilities that are tailored to support the productive sector of the economy. Then I think lastly, just the internal administrative arrangements that we have, where we have also been participating in improving the ease of doing business. The reduction in the cost of export documentation, the reduction in the administrative requirements for that at bank level and at Reserve Bank, so that at least we reduce on the time it takes to generate the appropriate export documents for the exporter to be able to take their shipment out of the country. So these are internal things that we are doing. We also have the CPEX arrangement, where previously you needed to go to the bank to raise your CD1 forms. You can be registered on CPEX and you can raise your CD1 forms from your office. And you can also be able to follow through, process and see the maturities of your CD1 forms from your office without necessarily going to the bank. So this is a way of trying to eliminate the administrative burden that's involved in trying to complete these papers. Then in conclusion, I think you can go to the last. I will again, because I'm representing the governor, I started with a quote by the governor. I will end by a quote by the governor again. We remain optimistic that through working closer together, Zimbabwe, being the best kept secret in Africa, shall overcome its challenges through the localization of production, enhancing self-discipline, and promotion of exports. Indeed, we need to produce and create value to sustain the turnaround of the economy. I thank you.
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.